Howdy, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Pronogo, and today I'm going to be taking you on a ride on my Checkstealer machine. It's a map by myself, Forspawn, Port of Kickback, which is a recent map for Starcraft 1. And it was commissioned by HitEmUp, the red Protoss in the bottom left. Oh. And JarrellStorm is the green Zerg in the bottom right. See? 100% color guess accuracy. Bet you didn't see that one coming. Lucy, write that comment. It's pretty nice having my own personal group of elite shills, Luciferius and Fagudo being among them. And also, I guess the other people who I would shout out honorable mention would be Concealed Organic and... Who else does shilling? I guess Dead Infested. Dead Infested is a pretty cool guy. So there you go. We've managed to come full circle. HitEmUp definitely tries to shill, particularly among the uppermost echelon of StarCraft 1 players. So we'll see. Maybe he can take the fact that he's got, you know, some tier 1 experience under his belt. He is the most winningest player. Well, not the most winningest player. That's Mystery Meat still, but the best player. Oh my God, he's going Rogue Gallery first. And he is the greatest player that we have seen in recent history, for sure. But maybe the king will be back. Mystery Meat did have a run of form in Tyrant's Tale. It was very cool. Stuffed by Top Ramen and then later by Arbuz. Can you believe it? So HitEmUp is here. He's having a good time, and he is facing off against JarrellStorm, who is going to be going for a pool open. So as far as like trying to survive what HitEmUp is cooking up, then the pool opener seems to be a pretty good option here. However, neither player has scouted each other just yet, and actually I'm a liar anyway because the hatch is already here. So he did not go pool open, he went expand into pool. So I do think that that pool should still be able to come online at a reasonable time. The Warden early on is interesting. He's not making it behind the pylon, so it's not part of a wall. Well, I guess the Warden is part of the wall, but it's not going to be protected by a wall. And it will be a Kabbalist opener. That's kind of what I was expecting to come out of that. Kabbalists in Cosmonarchy, as opposed to Dark Templar in StarCraft 1, don't one-shot workers, but they do teleport while cloaked. So if they're cloaked, they teleport and reveal themselves from a short distance, so you kind of blink onto the target. So it's one of those things that's pretty neat, actually. Kagrant at the ramp. Obviously, the fact that this is a circuit is just the way that it is on Kickback, so we kept that particular detail so that you could immediately start putting some static defense down there. I think it's pretty cool. It's a fine idea. Ooh, blocked on the way out! Well, he's actually just going to wait for the Kagra spread then. All right. First Kabbalist is done. He's going to wait for the second one. By the way, you can just bypass all this static defense, obviously. You're not really worried about it with the Kabbalists. You just walk right past it. It's not like they can see you. And we do have some workers being made at the natural here. The Zets are going to fan out to see where they can go as far as following the scribe over here and revealing that it is indeed a Warden. Now, the Zet did not get far enough to see the Rogue Gallery, so Jarrell is completely in the dark about what is going on now as he tries to take a third base. Very greedy from our Zerg player. Now a Clan Ass member, a traitor amongst the United States Cosmonarchs, Clan USCM, the other competing clan. Although Clan Ass definitely has a lot going on. You know, Neblime's pretty active, Hamster's pretty active, HitEmUp's obviously very active, Top Ramen's very active, and now JarrellStorm coming in hot. So, see, Biddy B, of course, the man who is certainly a legend. Sponsored the game and given us a lot to write home about. So here come the Kabbalists, and you can see the teleportation in action there. That's going to immediately eviscerate the first 3 workers, and probably more. You can see that there's the TP. Love to see that. So you're talking 6 dead workers this early on. That is not ideal. So what is Jarrell going to do in response to this? He's going to cook up an Ovaleth. He has dealt with Kabbalists before. Now he's got to deal with them in his main, though, and that's going to stop the gas harvesting from happening. He does need the Quasis to actually damage these bad boys, but we're talking about, you know, 8 dead workers. And yes, they do one-shot Zethar cores still, so that is indeed a feature. All right. Well, he will have a lot of larvae, so he can droll up as a response to that, but we've got an Ancestral Archives off of 1 base and a second Warden with some Vagrants starting to pop up. So the Kabbalists have definitely done their job, paid for themselves, etc., etc. It just occurred to me, I think with neutral structures, if they're small enough, you can pick them up. Huh. It's probably a good thing that this is a circuit then, because the Ovaleth could pick it up otherwise, and if it was a Kagrant, what you could do in ZVZ, or, well, ZV anything, is you could bring, your first unit could be an Ovaleth, and then you could bring like 2 or 3 battle workers, pick up the neutral Kagrant, unload it in the enemy's base, and start putting down, you know, neutral static defense, right? Especially since the neutral Kagran would hook onto this one, and thus you'd have Kagra spreading in 2 different locations. You got plenty of space there to decide what you want to do. The Avalith is going to go ahead and spot it. The Cabalist out here. This is all unbuildable terrain except for these little slats of stuff there. The Cabals are going to get tickled and negotiated away. Something worth noting is that the flash shielding has been changed. It is a nerf, but it's not in a way that is significant for the initial period of time of the healing. So basically, it's going to force you to kind of kite backwards a little bit. The flash shielding falls to a much slower rate of healing over the time span of about 5 seconds, but it still starts off at the same high level of healing. So that's pretty good. We've got the Vornath and the Hydrith Den coming up here for JarrellStorm. He has caught back up in workers and is soaring ahead in that respect. Oh, I forgot to mention, the way that the workers and like the larva and stuff have been adjusted, the Larvosk is on this version that they're playing on 175 gas. It's since been reset back to 150, which is still a nerf from what it was on the old Eco, but gas is more plentiful now. So I think that's actually not that much of a nerf. In fact, that might just be neutral, like baseline. And instead, larva has been nerfed as a spawn rate. The larva spawn rate went from 12 to 14. So you need more larva production to get the same larva production that you had. Now, a 2-second nerf on that kind of thing is not really the end of the world for the race, but it should help keep them in check because with the new Eco, they were the only ones that were still able to power up on the workers. And this is, of course, a version of the map that has 8 mineral fields still. And so that hasn't been corrected yet. I can't time travel and change the resources in the map. It would just break the replay, obviously. And we have enough of that happening already. So the Optecton is indeed out, and it's going to be used to sort of bust open these circuits here. He is making some Vorvs, but this is a tier 4 unit, and he's about to slap daddy this man. The Hydrith Den is up, so he could go for that. And double expand behind this, you can see HitEmUp is going to transition out of this and just try to kill as many Zerg units as he can. He's going to go ahead and see if he can force the issue. The Cabalists are going to get brought down by the Vorvs, but just based on that alone, yeah, you're going to see a lot of dead Zerg. So now he's going to go ahead and use that Optecton to peel off the circuit. Very good stuff there. He has killed the Cabalist. JarrellStorm has freed that up, and he knows that as long as he still has some Vorvs, he can slow and kind of isolate the Optecton, and then use the Hydras to finish the job after. So I think that's actually a pretty good move that he's doing there. See, it does take a little bit of way to chisel the static defense down. HitEmUp is actually going to fall back onto that. And if he had followed up with more production and stuff, instead of getting fucking 3 Nexuses, yes, why not a 4th Nexus for a total of 5, then he definitely would have had more military. He could have probably busted that himself. But, he definitely put the fear of God in Jarrell. And now, what more can he do? So we're going to see 16 Vorva cores be made. That's a lot of Vorvs. They do move faster than Zeths, although I think on this patch, Zeths still move really fast. That was another thing that was changed later on to combat the 6 pool being almost instant death. Zeths now move a little bit slower. It's a constant balance when you change something like the economy. You're always going to have to rebalance so much at Tier 1 and so on and so forth. We're still not sure if we're going to rebalance the Tier 2 tech costs and stuff for Zerg and for Terran, and thus the Tier 2 Protoss structure costs, but I think for now we're probably going to just leave it for a while, maybe like a week or two, see how it goes. We're preparing for Acropolis number 2, which is going to kick off at the end of October. So we're going to try to get our ducks in a row, maybe run a couple of invitational tournaments in the meantime. You can always join our Discord server for that. And that's exactly where JarrellStorm is, trying to storm the gates. He's brought down the initial 2 Wardens. The Patriarchs are going to really help out with the front line, getting rid of those. Hydras, they are going to start to see what they can do there, but are they going to be enough? I mean, he's got more back here. He needs to get into this fight. Splash damage from the Patriarchs and the Optectons both. I think HitEmUp might have been a little bit too greedy here. The Optecton's trying its best, but okay, it is going to stay alive. We got more Hydras flooding in, but that's all we can hope for now. That Avalith is going to be brought down. And that is going to mean that the Hydras have to fall on back. We have more hatches coming out. If he can just go for a straight-up Hydra bust here, I still think he needs some kind of front line. It would definitely be great for, like, Zeth Vorv or whatever. Definitely something that you got to watch out for. This base is interesting, right? Because the minerals, there's not as much Vespene in these bases, right? But you get, 2 safe bases. And so that's already something that's worth doing and pointing out, I think. So we do have a 3 o'clock location taken by JarrellStorm. Yeah, I think with some adjustments, maybe improvements to the middle of the map, where maybe we'll end up adding some small little like cliffs to fight around for cliff advantage to take into effect. I think that could be really cool. With some small adjustments here, I believe that Kickback, aka Checkstealer in Cosmonarchy, could be a really cool map to incorporate into our Class 1 pool, our Empire class pool. We'll see what the homies think about it. I guess Abiogenesis seems to be something that people like as well, but I haven't seen too many games on it. So even though it's my map, and selfishly I can say, yeah, of course I want my map in the pool, you know, I have to actually see. If it's good, then I have no problem just putting it into the pool, obviously. But, you know, got to be somewhat unbiased if you can be. So we've got double up Tecton, plenty of Patriarchs, another Archon, and we've got more Rogue Galleries coming online, as well as a second Ancestral Archives. The Vorvikors are going to clump up like mad around this Archon. That is going to be such a brutal slapping for Jarrell. And if he can't bust it on this fight, I'm not so sure. I'm a little bit worried about what he's actually going to be capable of doing, because the Uptectons are going to cleave through all of this like a hot knife through butter, and JarrellStorm might be served up for breakfast. I don't know, do you have butter with other things? You probably do, but I only think about it as like a breakfast food. Of course, you cook with it. Ah, man, I could cook Hapsea, a mean salmon with garlic. Man, Hapsea would never live to see another chef. He'd just marry me on the spot. And that's what we need around here. We need Hapsea to marry us. If you're not really attuned to what is up with Cosmonarchy and our meta and our community, that made no sense to you. But Hapsea challenged me to a cook-off. Except not really. That was just Lucy trying to meme. 10 pairs of Nathicors on the way for JarrellStorm. Remember, Uptectons do not shoot up. The Patriarchs can make short work of them, but there's not really any other static defense. So if he attacks at the front line at the same time, I don't mind this gambit. And it's not so much of a gambit because Jarrell is expanding to the other parts of the map. So this is actually setting up to be a pretty cool situation here, where the Zerg is, again, you know, down in tech by a considerable degree, but should still be capable of, you know, putting some pain onto the Protoss. If he comes in here with 10 Nats, he busts this pylon and just starts ransacking the workers, that is going to force, you know, HitEmUp into a weird location. He's going to go after the Warden instead, and that wouldn't be my choice. Here comes the Archon to try to deal with that. Immediately going to see a fullback there because of the splash damage. Everybody knows that about Archons. Now, where do those Nats go next? The Vagrants can definitely do some damage here, but he's going to go after the Uptecton. Patriarch is here to splash. You got to watch out. The Patriarch's here to splash. But I think he might have been able to... no, he's not going to quite kill that Uptecton. He did soften it up quite a bit. Yeah, I feel like Jarrell could have maybe executed a little bit better on that push. Also, if those Uptectons were up here still, that would have been a great opportunity to kind of split them off from the rest of the force, because there was nothing that was attacking air up there. He has not scouted the rest of the map. There was a game on Phantasmagoria, a map by Veek7. That is a new version in some ways of Fata Morgana, interestingly enough. And Jarrell did a lot better using Zeths to sort of move around the map and keep tabs on the expansions than he's doing here. Now here come the Nats to try to draw some fire, and they are going to go after those Uptectons, but the Patriarchs deal splash damage, and even though he dropped the Archon, it's not going to be enough there. I feel like the tech deficit is just too high, even though he's got a good eco, even though he's got, you know, equivalent economy, but actually better because his workers are spread out across more bases. JarrellStorm not really able to field an economy that is going to be good enough to deal with this. And so, you know, the Hydra's coming out. We are going to see a lot of those, but we don't see any Bactylisks to deal with the Vagrants. And then after the Bactylisks are dealing with the Vagrants, you still have to deal with the Uptectons, which have great armor. So you'd need the Vorvs in there, or maybe the Nats in there. Nats do rend the armor just like the Vorvs do, so that's like another good option. Yeah. And Jarrell chiming in on the balance. Don't worry, Jarrell. Veek7 pulled him, and Top Ramen Wraith built 8 star pads in the left side of the map and killed him that way. Those were the only losses he had in Tyrant's Tale. HitEmUp is just a fucking man, okay? He's just a man. Shout out to Loller Skates, who when I took my vitamins on stream the other day, he said Vita Man, because I said I forgot my vitamins. Yeah, absolutely. Just muscle emoji. That's HitEmUp right now, dude. He cannot be stopped. He's muscle emoji, keyboard emoji. Tier 2 on the way here for JarrellStorm. Looks like he hasn't given up quite yet. He's got a great mineral bank. He has lost his base at 3 o'clock, but the top right wasn't even investigated, which is kind of a bitter pill to swallow for Jarrell, because HitEmUp is definitely going to be able to do some serious damage here, and I think it's going to be way too much. How can Jarrell fight out of this contain that is being set up with 6 Uptectons firing in sequence as the Vagrants come in to help deal with all these circuits, and the Patriarchs are going to keep everybody topped up on shields. We've got a lot of units that just started mutating, but I think it's going to be way too late. No Bactylisk still to this day, and Jarrell is about to get creamed out, I think. I don't really see how he could possibly deal with this. His Vorvikor eggs are going to get squashed and spoiled. Some of them will end up finishing, but I feel like they're... yeah, It's a firing squad, dude. That's going to be GG for sure. Jarrell has not been able to, you know, use the economic advantage that he definitely had to his situation. And HitEmUp quoted the original trilogy and then said Anakin. But that was said to a stormtrooper by Ian McGinnis or whatever his name is. And yeah, not disappointing. Disappointing. Well, Jarrell has to go back to the drawing board. I believe he's been playing with Gorger cores a lot lately. That's definitely what I saw when I checked out HitEmUp's stream. And if you join our Discord server, which you can do very freely in the link below, you too can get access to HitEmUp's streams. He goes into the bullying corner and bullies for poor fools. The other thing you can do as far as links are concerned is you can go to our coffee page that's in the bottom right of the video. It's in our link to our description. You can donate to project development, add more content, get more updates to the game, etc., etc. So if you like what you see, consider tossing a few bucks there. It does help fund the development. It does help keep roofs over our heads. It's very appreciated. GG, boys. We will be back with more Cosmonarchy content. I hope you enjoyed this one. Until next time.